information given in here, some of that applies to the trading account and some of it is not applicable to the trading account. What we will do is I'll first introduce the concept of profit and loss account to you, and then we'll come back to this question. Okay, then it will make more sense. So let's move back to the slide. I've also shared the PDF of this chapter on the Google Classroom. So you can access the slides which I am presenting here for your revision purposes. So coming to the next step in preparation of final accounts of the company, that is post the preparation of trading account, we move to the profit and loss account. Now, what is profit and loss account doing? When you got the gross profit from the trading account, you move to the profit and loss account and you try calculating the net profit oblique the net loss incurred by the business. It begins with the gross profit or gross loss being transferred from the trading account. तो जो trading account में आपकी balancing figure आई थी वो transfer होती है P&L account में, and then we consider all the indirect expenses and indirect incomes of the business to calculate the net profit oblique net loss. So let us see what the format looks like. I'll pick up all the expenses and incomes one by one. We'll try to understand each of the terms and then we'll proceed to the practical on the same. So this is what the format for profit and loss account looks like. Now class, when we move from the trading account, your gross profit, just take some space here just to show you that this was your trading account. And yesterday when we were solving the question, we got the value of gross profit on the debit side. When the credit side was higher than the debit side, 2 GP, that is what you got on the left hand side. Now the rule for ledger accounts is that the balance is brought down on the opposite side. Okay, the ones who are familiar with ledger accounts, they know कि पहले बैलेंस CD होता है, फिर opposite side पे बैलेंस BD हो जाता है. The ones who are not yet come with ledger accounts can move to this rule just by understanding that you take the balancing figure to the opposite side. So herein gross profit is moving from the debit side to the credit side. तो अब जब डेबिट साइड पे कोई टर्म लिखी जाती है उसमें प्रीफिक्स होता है टू, and when a term is written on the credit side the prefix is by. So to gross profit now becomes by gross profit. Okay, and in the bracket you have written it has been brought from the trading account. Okay, so this is the first step when you are preparing the profit and loss account. You transfer the gross profit or gross loss. So if you are not having gross profit in the trading account, say you have by gross loss here. So then that will also be transferred to the opposite side. From the credit, you move to the debit side. By becomes 2 and you write down 2 gross loss brought from trading account. Now obviously this will be or either of the two will appear in the profit and loss account. Okay, let's move to the other entries. On the debit side you have all expenses. तो ये जो सारी एंट्रीज हैं ये सब खर्चे हैं बिजनेस के, oblique any losses in the business. Okay. And on the right hand side, on the credit side, you have all the incomes, oblique gains from the business. Okay, these terms. So let's move to the expense part first. Under expenses, the first term is two salaries. Now, yesterday I explained you when you have wages, they come under the trading account because those are paid to the labor which is directly involved in the production process. Salaries are paid to the white collared workers who are in the administrative process of the business. Part of the indirect expenses of the business. डायरेक्ट का मतलब होता है रिलेटेड टू दी कोर बिजनेस एक्टिविटी, कोर प्रोडक्शन एक्टिविटी. इनडायरेक्ट का मतलब होता है वो खर्चे जो बिजनेस को रन करने में हेल्प कर रहे हैं बट दे आर नॉट डायरेक्टली रिलेटेड टू दी प्रोडक्शन प्रोसेस. Okay, so under that, the first term, first expense, which we see is the salaries. If you get the term salaries and wages in the question, in the nomenclature we see which is the first term. So salary पहले आ गया, वो वैल्यू आपकी P&L अकाउंट में जाएगी, अमाउंट में आप उसका अमाउंट लिख दोगे. ओके, फॉर द टाइम बीइंग इग्नोर ये जो एडजस्ट करके टर्म दी हुई है, दिस आई टेक अप लेटर. अभी आप सिंपल अंडरस्टैंड कर लो. टू सैलरीज आपकी जाती हैं P&L के डेबिट साइड पे. ओके, if anyone has any doubt in between, you can unmute yourself. You can put your doubt in the chat box so that I get to know whether the concept is clear. Okay, next term, next expense on the debit side is rent rates and taxes. Now rent, all of you understand, rent is when you have taken some property lease or on rental basis and you are paying some monthly or quarterly charge for the same. Rates can be municipal charges on the property. Taxes, any tax which the state government, the central government is charging. Now all these should be related to the office. They shouldn't be related to the factory. अगर आपको क्वेश्चन में फैक्ट्री रेंट दिया है तो फैक्ट्री का रेंट आपका ट्रेडिंग अकाउंट में आएगा. बट इफ यू आर गिवन सिंपल रेंट और ऑफिस रेंट then that will come under the P&L account. I repeat myself. If you are given factory rent, तो फैक्ट्री से रिलेटेड जो भी खर्चा है वो डायरेक्ट एक्सपेंस है आपका. ओके, so that will appear on the debit side of trading account. Okay, but if in the question you are given simple rent or it is written office rent, so this is an indirect expense for the business and hence it will appear on the debit side of P&L account. So rent, rates, taxes, if nothing is written, then directly take it to the P&L account. If factory term is used, then you are taking it to the trading account. Moving back to the format. Next are the traveling expenses. Traveling expenses से आपका एडमिन ऑफिसर है, फील्ड विजिट के लिए जाना है, आपका सेल्समैन है जो सेलिंग के लिए traveling expenditure incur कर रहा है, all these are indirect expenses, they will come under the P&L account on the debit side. To stationery and printing, again this is an indirect expense, office expenditure है, it will come under the P&L account. Postage, audit and legal expenses, all are related to the smooth running of the business, not related to the production process. To telephone expenses, any communication expenses which the business is incurring. Next is to insurance premium. Now, if you have covered your business the risk of loss through a contract of insurance, then the premium which you are paying on it is again part of the indirect expenses of the business. Next, marketing and advertisement. Marketing is done to publicize your business, to create visibility for the business. It is indirect expense. Next is to interest paid. Now say your business has taken a loan. Then if you are paying some EMI on the loan during the year, whatever total you have paid comes an expense for the business. Discount allowed. अगर बिजनेस किसी कस्टमर को डिस्काउंट दे रहा है तो बिजनेस के लिए एक होता है. So that will come under the discount allowed as an indirect expense. Okay. So we have a question. Wait. Yes. So Gautam, you are asking that advertisement is shown as a as an asset only when it is mentioned कि वो deferred revenue expenditure है. लॉन्ग टर्म बेसिस पे जब हम डिवाइड करते हैं एडवर्टाइजमेंट एक्सपेंडिचर, इफ सम लमसम अमाउंट हैज बीन स्पेंट ऑन एडवर्टाइजमेंट, तो वो मेंशन्ड होता है कि इस ईयर में आप 20% ही चार्ज करोगे, तो फिर जो रिमेनिंग वाला होता है वो एसेट में जाता है. बट अगर सिंपली आपको एडवर्टाइजमेंट दिया हुआ है, एक स्मॉल अमाउंट है विच इज टू बी चार्ज्ड ड्यूरिंग दिस पर्टिकुलर ईयर ओनली, then that will come on the debit side of P&L account. It is only deferred revenue expenditure which will be partly charged to this year and the remaining appears on the asset side. Okay, let's move back. And this was something different. If you can ignore it for the time being. If something like this comes in a question, I'll explain this concept again. Okay. After that, interest paid, I have explained. Discount allowed. हमने किसी कस्टमर को डिस्काउंट दिया है तो वो बिजनेस के लिए एक तरह का नुकसान है, तो दैट विल कम ऑन दी डेबिट साइड. सन्ड्री एक्सपेंसेस, सन्ड्री मीन्स मिसलेनियस, इसके अलावा और भी कोई छोटे छोटे अगर एक्सपेंडिचर बिजनेस ने करे हैं, दैट कैन बी क्लब्ड टुगेदर एंड डेबिटेड ऑन दी in the P&L account. Okay, next term is carriage outwards. I'll repeat this concept. So, yesterday we discussed the concept of carriage inwards. Inwards क्या था? Raw material, कोई सेमी फिनिश्ड गुड्स आपने परचेज करे हैं, मार्केट से फैक्ट्री तक लाने का जो खर्चा था, that was your carriage inwards and that is coming in the trading account. Okay. On the other hand, carriage outwards क्या होता है? सेल्स करने के बाद प्रोडक्ट आपने सेल कर दिया, अब फैक्ट्री से कस्टमर तक पहुंचाने का जो खर्चा होता है, that is known as carriage outwards and that will come under the P&L account. So inwards is a direct expense, comes under the trading account. Outwards is post the sales of the product. Say the delivery expenses, delivery charges, जो भी आपका expenditure हो रहा है in transporting the product from factory to the customer is an indirect expense for the business and hence comes on the debit side of the P&L account. Okay, the next term is bad debts. So I'll repeat this term again for the students who are not aware of what bad debts are. Okay, so uh, say there are two people, X and Y. Now X is selling goods to Y on credit basis. मतलब गुड्स सेल कर दिए पर अभी Y ने कैश पे नहीं करा. X is the seller, Y is the buyer. Y has not paid any cash, so Y becomes the debtor. Debtor वो person है who has some amount outstanding to the seller. Okay. So in this transaction, Y is the debtor and X is the creditor for Y. Okay. Someone who has sold on credit basis. तो अभी इसी एग्जाम्पल को जब हम कंटिन्यू करते हैं विद रिस्पेक्ट टू द बिजनेस से आवर बिजनेस इज ए बी लिमिटेड सम customer Y has purchased the goods on credit basis has not made the payment so Y becomes a debtor for the business. Okay. Debtor is someone who is expected to make the payment in the future. Some time is given post that which the person has to make the payment. Now, if at any point of time Y says that I am unable to make the payment, say this debt was of 5,000 rupees, Y ने 5,000 rupees के goods purchase करे थे और अभी उसकी पेमेंट नहीं करी थी. So if Y declares that I am unable to make the payment, then this 5,000 becomes a loss for the business. And the name used for this loss is bad debts. Okay, so bad debt is a loss, a debtor who is unable to make the payment, who is failing in making the payment due to the business. So this is a loss, hence it comes on the debit side of the P&L account. Okay. After that, next is depreciation. Depreciation is loss in the value of an asset due to usage of the asset, due to technical obsolescence, wear and tear. What does all this mean? You are using, example, a car. After a year, after a month, after a day, there will be loss in the value of the asset. Okay, so even if you purchase a brand new car and you go to return it back on the same day to the showroom, you will not be recovering the original amount. ओके आपको आपने 4 लाख की कार ली, आप वापस चले गए शोरूम 2 घंटे बाद that I am not happy with this car, give me some other car. They will not return you back 4 lakh because there will be a depreciation in the value once the car is on the road. Same thing happens with machinery. You use machine in the business, there is normal wear and tear, the value of the machine will fall. So this is known as depreciation. loss in the original value of the asset. ओके, सन्ड्री एक्सपेंसेस आर से अभी जितने भी एक्सपेंसेस की बात करिए, इसके अलावा अगर कोई छोटे मोटे एक्सपेंसेस हैं उनको आप इकट्ठे क्लब कर दो, टोटल करके लिख दो मिसलेनियस एक्सपेंसेस, दोज आर योर सन्ड्री एक्सपेंसेस. Sundry means miscellaneous, other than the expenses mentioned here. Okay, so it can be a small expenditure. तो यहाँ पर आपको पोस्टेज अलग से दिया हुआ है, कोई आपने कोरियर करा है, स्मॉल स्टेशनरी की आइटम्स ली हैं, उन सबको क्योंकि उनकी वैल्यू बहुत कम है उनको हम टोटल करके इकट्ठे सन्ड्री एक्सपेंसेस में भी लिख सकते हैं. Okay, so I hope bad debts are clear, depreciation term is clear. Next term used on the debit side is repairs and renewals. Repairs, आप मशीन यूज कर रहे हो, अगर उसका रिपेयर होगा तो वो फैक्ट्री एक्सपेंस है. पर अगर आपसे आपकी ऑफिस में देर इज सम लाइट, ओके, और एलईडीज विच नीड सम रिपेयर, इन्वर्टर है उसमें कुछ एनुअल मेंटेनेंस है, वो सब आपके रिपेयर्स एंड रिन्यूअल्स में आ जाएंगे. तो ऑफिस से रिलेटेड जो भी रिपेयरिंग का चार्ज है दैट विल कम अंडर द प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट. नेक्स्ट इज टू कमीशन. अब डेबिट साइड पर जब कमीशन है तो वो बिजनेस ने पे करी है, बिजनेस के लिए एक्सपेंडिचर है, तो वो that will appear as to commission paid. So here I am talking about the commission paid by the business. One thing to remember always is whatever financial statements we are preparing, they are for the business. Okay, so for the business, commission paid is an expense. Any other expense will come on the debit side. Then last thing is to loss by fire or theft. So this is a loss for the business. This is not an expense. Expenses are day-to-day charges to run the business. Loss is not happening on daily basis. So once in a blue moon, there might be fire in the office and some property is damaged, your tables, furniture is damaged. All this is a loss for the business that will come on the debit side. Okay, I hope these expenses are clear. So from the expenses, we move to the incomes. So I will just zoom in here now. So on the credit side, as I told you, we start with the gross profit that has been brought from the trading account. And now we have a look at the incomes that can be earned by the business. तो आपके बिजनेस के पास एक्स्ट्रा प्रॉपर्टी थी, आपने वो रेंट पर दे दी. The rent received on that extra property becomes a rent received. Income for the business appears on the credit side. Next term, by discount received. So your business had to make some payment. जो seller था उसने आपको कुछ discount दिया है, that is a gain for the business. Discount which it is receiving comes on the credit side. After that, interest earned. Say your business has made some investment. एफडी में ही फिक्स्ड डिपॉजिट में पैसा रखा है, उसका इंटरेस्ट आया ड्यूरिंग द ईयर, दैट बिकम्स एन इनडायरेक्ट इनकम फॉर द बिजनेस, विल कम ऑन द क्रेडिट साइड ऑफ द P&L अकाउंट. बाय बैड डेट्स रिकवर्ड. रिकवर्ड का मतलब क्या है? पहले हमें लॉस लगा था, पर लेट्स मूव बैक टू द सेम एग्जांपल. Okay, so why here in this example, why had a change of heart? So now he is in a position to make the payment, but he says I'll not be able to make the entire payment of 5,000. I will pay 3,000 to the business. तो बिजनेस के लिए तो 5,000 पूरे डूब चुके थे एज बैड डेट्स, बट नाउ यू आर गेटिंग 3,000 बैक. This is known as bad debts recovered. So this is a gain for the business, and hence it comes on the credit side of the P&L account. After that, by commission earned, any commission which the, yes, credit side is about getting money, income for the business. Again, if the business is getting some commission, it is earning some commission on any sales made, then that will be an income coming on the credit side. Dividend received. Dividends are received on the investment in shares. So your business has invested in some shares. जिस कंपनी के शेयर्स में इन्वेस्ट करा, उन्होंने कुछ डिविडेंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करा है, दैट बिकम्स एन एडिशनल इनकम फॉर द बिजनेस. And any other income you can think of, if there's in the question, then incomes and profits, gains come on the credit side. Okay, so after this, the last step again is you total the लेफ्ट हैंड दी राइट हैंड साइड. आपने टोटल करा, जो हायर है वो टोटल में आपने लिख दिया, जो वैल्यू हायर है. फिर आप देखते हो इफ डेबिट साइड एज अ हायर टोटल, दैट इज डेबिट इज ग्रेटर देन क्रेडिट, तो आपकी जो डिफरेंस अमाउंट है उसको हम बैलेंसिंग फिगर बोलते हैं. दैट विल कम हेयर ऑन द क्रेडिट साइड. This is your credit side, this is your debit side. So if left hand column has a higher total than the right hand balancing figure, the difference amount comes on the right hand side, and it is known as by net loss transferred to capital account. Vice versa, if in credit side has a higher total than the debit side, then the difference amount will come on the left hand side, and that is known as to net profit. It will be adjusted here on the debit side, and then it is transferred to the balance sheet to the capital account. Okay, so this is how you close the P&L account. टोटल जो हायर वैल्यू थी वो एज टोटल आप दोनों साइड्स पे लिख दोगे, एंड you have completed your P&L account. Okay, so please first class have a look. Any term which needs to be repeated, I'll take up.